Hello and welcome back to Celestial Satsang. This is Katya, and this is our last episode. This is episode 7 of season 1, and I have a very dear guest that really doesn't have anything to do with astrology or tarot or being a psychic, but she is my cousin, a long distance cousin, but as far as I'm concerned, she's like a first cousin. Heather Andolina, and she is the president of the Melungeon Heritage Association. So, welcome, Heather. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it so much.
Hi, Katya. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I so thrilled to have you here because I want to show everybody, all the cool stuff you're working on. We can just, talk about, some of the people we've had on, the interesting conversations. She has her own podcast, the Melungeon Voices podcast. It is on Spotify. And I was on, what was it, season 3, episode 3.
Yes.
So if you're interested in hearing that, you can go on over to Spotify, and I talk about Ehlers-Danlos syndrome and how it is a genetic disorder, connective tissue disorder, that it seems like a lot of Melungeon people have.
Yes.
And so, it's just been really wonderful listening to her podcast. And I thought, you know what, we need to interview Heather and get her over here and tell us about all the cool stuff she's doing. So before we get into all that, though, I just want to like introduce you to everyone and let them, get to know you. So, where are you living now and where were you raised and like how was your formative years? I mean, did you know that you were Melungeon when you grew up, or is that something that you had to find out?
So right now I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. Been here since 2008. So been here for a while now, but love it. Love Charlotte. But of course, I'm originally from Northern Kentucky. I was born in Covington, Kentucky, and grew up in Northern Kentucky. And so, really, the story is very similar to a lot of individuals with Melungeon ancestry and mixed ancestry. And it was more of, we always knew there was something. Our grandparents, or my grandmother particularly, was always very interested in her own ancestry and her genealogy. And she was always told that it was Cherokee, that we had Cherokee ancestry. That's why she was the color she was. My grandmother was, she was not light complected like myself. She was darker complected. And she was just told that we had Cherokee, Native American ancestry. And that was about it. Like that was all we ever knew. And then one day I was down visiting my great grandparents in Jellicoe, Tennessee, northeastern Tennessee. And I was down there with my mom and my grandmother. And one of my mom's cousins was talking about, she goes, have you guys heard of the term Melungeon? And my mom and I were like, what? Like, what's that? And she went on to talk about, she goes, I think so her father was my grandmother's brother, my great uncle Ricky, and they were thinking like, we actually, like, yes, we do have native, but they're like, we think we belong to these people who were called Melungeon, who had mixed ancestry. So it wasn't just native, it was also like African. And of course, as we well soon learn, it's even more than just African, European, and native. It's also Middle Eastern and Southeast Asian and Jewish, and like so many, they're very, of course, multicultural people. And that's the first time I had heard the term. And then we started doing our DNA test as a family. And of course, all of these started coming up in our DNA. So then we started realizing, oh yeah, those are our people. Those are our ancestors.
Yeah, yeah. And just, for new people that have no idea what we're talking about, Melungeon, it is an adapted French term from mélange, which means mix, to mix. And so Melungeon are mixed people. And this is something that it was, historically it was a derogatory term. It was something that people had to hide. Like my mother's father's family, the Walkers, um, they told my mom, we're Black Dutch, but shh, don't tell anybody. It was a real
Yep.
stigma. And so for people that, had this ancestry, we've had to hide who we were. A lot of it got really bad with Walter Plecker in North Carolina and his one drop rule, which said that if you had one drop of any blood besides white blood, you were considered black. And if you had that listing, then, you couldn't have a job, you couldn't, go to school, get hospital services. I mean, you were pretty much shut out. And this, I believe, I mean, obviously it had to have been before the Civil War. I forget the exact date, but you can look it up on Wikipedia. They have all the information about it. But that's why we had to hide our ancestry. And so now we are in a generation where we are proud to be Melungeon. We are proud of our ancestors, and we don't want this heritage to be erased. Um, and so, Heather and many others have been at the forefront of this movement. And I saw, so the conference for this year for the association, we are going to have, oh, what was his name? Winkler? What's
Wayne
his
Winkler.
Wayne Winkler.
Wayne.
Yes, Wayne. And he's
Yes.
in the video on YouTube. If you look up Melungeon documentary, you will see the screenshot of Lincoln, because Lincoln was part Melungeon. And so that's the video you want to watch. Yes, it is in Turkish because Turkey has recognized Wise, Virginia as a sister city to Çeşme, Turkey, which is where the Ottoman naval base was. And so a lot of our ancestors were sailors that came over, especially after the Spanish Inquisition. But before that, they were ships washing up against the eastern shore of the US for hundreds, if probably thousands of years. And people just moved up, especially moved up into the mountains because they could hide. And so that's
Yes.
what we're talking about here, is Melungeon heritage that comes from Appalachia. Yes, it is Appalachia. It's not well, how do other people say it? Appalachian. It's not Appalachian.
Appalachian, yeah.
It's Appalachia. That's how you remember it. But this is the region we're talking about. And, with Hurricane Helene, and the devastation up there, a lot of people in our community are really hurting. But you can see, how far back our people go up there.
Yes.
And so, how did that? So when did you, get into the association?
So as soon as when we found out about our after we did our DNA and we were like, okay, yeah, these are our people. I found out about the organization, and I went to one of the unions or conferences, and they were looking for the vice president was position was open, and they were looking for a vice president, and they're like, would you like to be our vice president? And I was like hesitant because I was like, I've only, I'm very new. I don't, I'm not sure. But they're like, no. I think, yeah, welcome, come on in. And so so I filled the vice president position. And then the following year, Scott Withrow, who was the president before me, he was stepping down, and he's like, Heather, I'm going to nominate you for president. And I'm like, I've only been vice president for a year, and he's like, no, Heather, you've got this. He's wonderful. Scott is awesome. And he nominated me, and they all agreed. And then that's how I became president. And as you all know, and then my first year as president was 2020. So, but that's what led to us doing the podcast, beginning the Melungeon Voices podcast. We decided to do a podcast because we couldn't do the in-person union conference. So, and then the podcast, just everybody loved it. So even when we were able to do the in-person union conferences, people still wanted a podcast. So, so now we've got the union conferences in person now, and the podcast. I mean, we just wrapped up season 5 back in the fall. So, and hopefully we'll get a season 6 for this fall. So just exciting stuff.
Yeah, you were definitely a natural fit. Now, what was your career, or what is, I mean, I'm assuming you're still, living a double life, right? Having your job and then having this as well. So what is your, I mean, what was your, field that made you, so naturally disposed to this kind of work?
Yes, I'm a historian. So I have a bachelor's and master's in history. I mean, it was just it's my passion. I love it, and what I do with the MHA goes right along with it. I've worked in many museums and historical sites, and so it's right up my alley. I love it.
And that's close to my heart too. I love history. My master's was in ethnomusicology, and I studied Arab music and dance. And now I'm retired, and so now what do? I'm a Vedic astrologer and a psychic medium, and I do tarot. So it's like, you know, I feel like these are things that I just naturally was drawn to. I could never figure it out. I don't clearly look all white, right? Like there's something going on
Right.
with me.
Mhm. Right,
And
right.
so I've
Yep.
just always been drawn to this stuff. And then,
Hmm.
being a part of the Arab American community, dancing for them, especially being in Detroit, I found that a lot of them don't really understand US history, the reality of it. All they're fed is what
Yeah,
they get in public school, right?
right,
And so I've been trying to teach them like, no, all of the white people in this country don't come from the British, right? Before the British
right,
were here, we had the Spanish. Before the Spanish, we had the French. Before the French, we had the Portuguese. Before them, we had Phoenicians. And before that, we had Romans. And who knows beyond that, right? Because we only have what's written down in history. So for thousands of years,
right.
people have been coming here on the East Coast. And when the next, leadership or conquering nation comes in, they don't just leave, they stay and they mix. And so that is, why, we have this great culture in Appalachia.
Hmm.
And for me, like my grandmother came from West Virginia, my dad's mother. Um, but both I'm finding now that all 4 of my grandparents' lines have some sort of Melungeon, but the only one I had known about previously were the Walkers. Um, but I'm finding out now my actual grandmother who no, my great grandmother who I never got to meet, my mother's mother, she died at 32.
Okay.
She
Oh,
was
wow.
Romani gypsy. They came from Sistersville, West Virginia, which is right on the Ohio River, across from Ohio, Pennsylvania, that
Yes.
area.
Yes.
And she was Romani, and she married an Irish traveler, but their names were Williams and Reynolds, right? So they had to take on
Yeah.
English names to cover up their heritage. And
Hmm.
that's where things get real confusing because,
Right.
but I look at my grandmother and she looks like what would be typically Melungeon. She's got the green eyes and the tan skin and the chestnut hair, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'm just finding out this now. And so it's like if you have it on one line, chances are you've got it on other lines because
Yeah.
people tend to gravitate towards safety, right?
Yeah.
They're not going, I mean, in Oklahoma it was called passing for white, right?
Yes.
Trying to,
Hmm.
yeah, that's what my grandfather had to do in Norman, Oklahoma
Yep.
when he moved to Tulsa. He had to pass for white because he could, he looked like
Yeah.
Italian, Mediterranean, something or other. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but that was what led me into the work that I'm doing now. And so you being an historian, that is going to give you so much, talent and skills that you're able to apply to this work now. And so, you know, I'm so excited about the new project that you guys are working on. And so maybe you could tell us a little bit about the melungeonroots.com website.
Yes. So so one of it's so funny, Katya, that because I have been, because a lot of times over the years when people reach out, so many people come to find out, like I think you had mentioned this, so many people have this ancestry and don't even realize it. And they reach out and they're like, I think I might be a Melungeon descendant. How do I know? Things like that. And I'm just our website is, it has like general information about Melungeon ancestry, Melungeon heritage, things like that. Our conferences, we do we delve a little deeper, but there's really not, we realized that there really wasn't anything like an actual website or like place where people can go and just have everything at their fingertips if they want to learn more about like whether or not they have this ancestry, or like they know they do and they want to learn more and they want to connect to others who have other Melungeon descendants. And I'm like, oh man, I really, so I've been talking about it, and and then one day I get a email from one of our members, Jess Arnold, and she's like, Heather, I need to talk to you. I've been working on something and I want to talk to you about it and see if this is something that you, like the Melungeon Heritage Association, would like to be a part of, da 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 da.
Mhm.
And we've had this meeting, and she tells me, she's like, I've been creating this website that is basically, it's a like a research, resource, and genealogical website for people, for Melungeon descendants. And she goes, can I send you what I've been working on? I'm like, yeah, please do. And when she sent it to me, I was like, oh my God, Jess, this is amazing. This is exactly what I had envisioned for what I've been thinking about, a site, a place where people can go. And so, we've been working on it. She had been working on it actually for like 2 years. Like that's how long she's been working on it. And we decided, like we're going to soft launch it to MHA members, kind of get some feedback, how to make it better and everything before we put it out, to the general public. But she has done such an amazing job at gathering resources. We've got the list of common surnames attached to the Melungeon people, locations. We have resources from Melungeon scholars, Melungeon authors, genealogists, DNA experts, the whole gambit. It's really a one-stop place for if you're looking, if you want to learn more about this ancestry, or if you think you are a descendant, of not even just, the Melungeon people, but of course, people of just mixing ancestry, because as you well know, Katya, we're all connected, even other mixed ancestry peoples, we're all connected. And it's really, that's what we wanted to do. And we're so excited about this project and its site.
It's an amazing website and it's pretty involved. And so that's why I thought it would be a good idea for us to take a look at it. But before we start the screen sharing and everything, let's talk first about the conference coming up, because I don't want people to forget. June 20th and 21st is the Melungeon Heritage Association Conference. And we've got several wonderful speakers as usual. And if you're a member of the association, you know, you can purchase a ticket and watch it online on Zoom. I did that last year, and it was really great because I just couldn't get down there at the time. It just seems to be
Yeah.
difficult for me to do, but I'm gonna make it one day, I promise.
Yeah. Yes.
But if you can make it, then you can come to the online,
Yes.
because you can
Yes.
talk and you can interact with people, and
Yes.
yeah. So why don't you talk a little bit about the new conference?
Yes. So like you said, it's June 20th and 21st. It will be in Johnson City, Tennessee,
Tennessee, right?
but
Yeah.
Tennessee. Yep. And so actually, so we're doing a little bit of something different this year. So Friday, we're going to be having our guest speakers present, and that will be in Johnson City at the Langston Center. It's at, I think, 315 Elm Street. And our first speaker will be Wayne Winkler. And I think he'll start around, I think it's like 9:15. And then we have Bo Peterson and her sister, Dr. Tracy Peterson, Dr. Terry Mullins, and they'll all be speaking in the morning. And then in the afternoon at 2, we're going to be showing a documentary called The Indelible Appalachians. And then we have on hand filmmaker Frederick Murphy, who is the he's the filmmaker of the documentary, as well as Adam Dixon and Crystal Good, who are also in the documentary. And after the showing of the documentary, we'll have a panel with the three of them. So that's going to be very exciting. And then afterwards, um, we'll be there till it's usually 9 a.m. to 5 is like the whole. And then in the evening we have a reception at the International Storytelling Center in Jonesboro, which is about 15 minutes from Johnson City. But on Saturday we are actually going to be going to Verde Valley, Tennessee. I think it's about an hour north of Johnson City, but Verde Valley is a well-known Melungeon settlement that actually some of my ancestors were in Verde, and maybe some of yours too, Katya. I'm not sure if you.
Yeah, we have several
Um,
we have
we
several
do.
overlapping chromosomes, so it's a possibility.
Yes, yes, yes. And so we're joining, collaborating with the Vardy Community Historical Society, and we're putting on an event from 10 to 2, and it's gonna have like all kind of we're gonna have authors there, Melungeon authors, artisans, craftsmen. There's gonna be music, bluegrass music, and then there's going to be moonshining demonstrations, how to play the banjo demonstration. It's going to be fantastic. So we are so excited. So Saturday is going to be really, really, it's going to be fun and educational, and we're really looking forward to it. And then there's also, because there is historical, there's the Vardy Church and Mahalia Mullins cabin that we will be giving historical tours of as well. So it's going to be a wonderful time. So we're
Oh, I
really
wish I
looking
could
forward to
come.
it.
Maybe I'll surprise
I
you and show
know,
up.
I know.
Well, Moonshiners is one of my favorite shows, and
Ah!
Mullins, as we know, is a very common Melungeon name. And so there's actually a
Yes.
whole episode on Mahalia Mullins and her special
Yep.
moonshine. She used a special
Yep.
apple, Macintosh apples, which is what we have here on our property. It's an old colonial apple, is what she used. I mean, they're very small, kind of ugly looking apples because they
Mhm.
get a lot of like spots on them, but they are so sweet and so delicious. And I actually make my own wine. I have a pear tree that's very prolific that I make wine from. I haven't made
That is
moonshine yet, though. I need to get
awesome.
a still.
Yeah.
It's fun, and I know it's in my DNA to want to do
Yep.
this. But for those that don't
Yep.
know, the reason why Melungeon people had to make moonshine was because, like I said, one drop rule, right? They weren't allowed to
Yep.
have a job. They weren't allowed to
Yep.
get government help. So what did they do? They made moonshine
Yep.
to support their families because everybody wanted it, and it was a high ticket, product that they could,
Yep.
you know, make easily, really, up the mountains.
Yes. Yes.
So cool. Okay, well, let's go ahead. I want to take a look now at the MHA website. We'll take a look at the new Melungeon Roots website, and then we have a little special treat. We're going to go on to GEDmatch, and we're going to show you guys how to navigate some of the tests, just how to operate it, because
Yes.
this is like my most popular video on TikTok. It's not even an astrology video or anything like that. It is me cursing at the screen because my Ancestry.com DNA results are so vastly different from what shows up in GEDmatch. And so this is how you're going to find out that you have this heritage, is by using these tests. So we're going to show you how to do it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and start looking at our screen shares. So the first one we have here is melungeon.org. And this is the main hub where, you're going to find out about the conference. But if we scroll down, it shows all of the events, things that we do, photo gallery, fun stuff. If you want to sign up for the conference, you're going to go to Shop MHA Gear, and it will be the first product here. So you just click on that. And right. So I guess if you're not a member,
Correct.
you click on this one, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So to be a member, you're just going to go to, let's see, go back to the home page. Let's see, how did I find, here we go, membership.
Here it is. Yeah.
So you're going to do that first, right? $15.
Yes.
And then you're going to go to Shop MHA Gear, and you're going to click on here, and then it will be $20. Otherwise, it's
Yes.
$30. But I mean, you should definitely pay for the membership because it's worth it.
Aw,
Yeah.
thank
But then
you.
we have
Yes.
other fun stuff that you can support us, right? We've got
Yes.
mugs and t-shirts, hats, cozies, things like that. So, the second website I want to show you guys is the new one, which is so nice. I'm just so impressed. Now, what's the woman's name that created this?
Jess Arnold.
Okay, yeah, Jess, you did a great job. So I just want to say
She did. She did.
this
She's
is
amazing.
gorgeous. So we get
Isn't
right
it?
into it. And not only is there a ton of information, but it's really beautiful. I'm just going to scroll down real quick just to show people what it looks
Yes.
like,
Yes.
because it is so involved. I'm so impressed. Oh, and we've got our podcasts here.
Yes. And we like to put yours on here too, Katya. Yeah. Yeah. We want to put yours on there too.
Yeah, so there's just like loads of information. Let's go to the top and you can kind of navigate me through this. So let's say, you're a member of the association, right?
Yes.
And you want to buy a membership here. So I'm going to go to shop.
Yes.
Okay. So if you want to become, oh, this is the shop. I think it's under
Oh, is
sign
that
up.
the show?
Yeah. So we go to
Okay. Go to
sign
sign
up.
up. Yeah. I can't remember if
Yes,
it was.
it's
Yeah. There we
okay.
go. There we go.
So if you, just want to, get started, it's just $6 a month, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
Um,
So the one on the left is just like if you're not an MHA member, and you just want to do just the Melungeon roots. You just want access to, some of the resources and information. And then it's just $6. But then the one in the middle, the Hill Folk Plus, as you can see, it says MHA member. So if you're an MHA member, you pay still $6 monthly, but you get a little extra because you're an MHA member.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then this is if you are, both feet in and you are ready to take a deep
Yes.
dive and you already know a little bit, right? Like you've got some of
Right.
your own research and now you're trying to match your research to what's here on the website. And so that's
Correct.
that's what that would be good for. And and you can stop your fee, your monthly subscription at any time once you have finished your research, scale back to $6 monthly if you want to. But this is
Right.
because this is supporting the website and all of the work that they've done, which is quite extensive, as you can see. And then here's all of your membership, information. Um, and there's forums. Yes, community
Yes.
forums.
Yes. We will have forums. Yes.
So wonderful. So let's go back to the home page and just kind of scroll down and we'll just take a look. I saw it was what, 333 for a year, I think. What did it say here?
Members donate. Oh, if you donated that, that's a lifetime
Okay, then
membership.
so once you reach 333, you don't have to pay anymore and you've got lifetime membership. Okay.
Yes.
And really, I mean, that's about the same as ancestry.com, and that's a yearly thing.
Right.
You get that every year.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm not real pleased with their DNA results. Uh, but, here we are on the homepage. So let's just take a look.
Yes.
So let's say, we're researching names, right?
Correct. Right.
So we can go to,
Yeah.
and
Now these
these,
are like specific, or now we do also have like just if you're just looking for just a surname, it's just in general. Um,
okay, which would be, let's see, start your
I
journey
think,
here,
yeah, there you
right?
go.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So this is an example.
Uh,
Oh, there he is, Walter Plecker. Oh, he's
Blacker.
43. Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
yes, that was. I think
What?
he started in the Racial Integrity Act. I think was in 1924.
And that was after the Civil
So
War,
yep.
y'all. So I mean, they still were trying to
Hmm.
persecute people
Oh yeah.
for not
Oh
being
yeah.
white.
That's not that long ago. That's only 100 years ago.
Not even. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
isn't
Oh, we have so far to go.
it?
Um, but yeah. Oh, and of course, Brent Kennedy. This is we must mention
Yes.
his name today because he's the one that really opened up my eyes to, my 10% Bulgarian blood being actually Turkish. Yeah. So
Oh,
if on your DNA you're like, wait a minute, how can we Melungeons be Turkish when it didn't show up? Well, hello. This is because Turkey is a very big country. There are lots of
yes.
ethnicities that are Turkish. There is not one
Yes.
Turkish DNA. And so this is what you got to
Right.
remember.
Right.
And especially we
Yes.
are, Turks descended from the Ottoman naval base, area and era. So, if it comes up as Bulgarian and you're looking for Melungeon, it's Turkish. So I'm like 10%, 12% Turkish, something like that.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
hmm Okay, so let's see. Oh, coming soon. So this is the thing. As we are filming this, there are still some things on the back end that are getting finished. We are in
Yes.
still our soft launch era. But by the time that
Correct.
this video is published, everything should be up on the website. And so I don't want to dissuade people like, oh, it's not done. No, it will be done by the time, I publish this. So oh, and how interesting. She
Yes.
put that up at 11:11 a.m. So that is a good sign that our ancestors are on board with this website. But yeah, so
Yes.
yes, so that is one way you will be able to find out specific names. Let's just click this and
Yeah,
just
we got
see what that looks
specific.
like.
Yep.
And then discuss in forum. You can go to the forum page. Now this is opening up a different tab. Can you see that? or is it still the same page?
Oh, okay. Yes. Because like the forum will be something that will be
Okay.
for MHA members, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah,
So
so
once
that
you're
would be
signed
something that
in,
if
right.
correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll do my sign in afterward. We were talking about that earlier. Because I've been so busy, I haven't had time to deep dive into this, but that's why I wanted to do this video with her because I was like, hey,
Yes.
you know what? Let's look at it together because I'm not going to be the only one that's like, huh? There's
Exactly. And now
so much.
The Cave of Clues is where you can that's where you find like the surnames.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, click in there. That's going to have a lot of yeah, you just click, like if you're looking for a particular surname, that's where you're going to find it.
I'm just going to look. Put in Walker. Oh, I have to log in. Okay. Well, anyway,
Well, I was gonna say go over here to the list over here to the left to the
oh,
yeah, click
okay.
on one of those. Maybe that might bring up something.
Okay. Oh, it takes me
No, it
back
just
to the
turned
other
okay.
page. That's okay.
But that's where yeah, but like I said, you just log in and yeah, and then yeah, that's where you will find yeah, you just put in the surname that you're looking for and you know, if it's in there, it'll come up. And,
Okay.
and that's the thing with this website, also, Katya, is that it is going to be an ever changing website. Like we're gonna always be adding new things, adding more information, adding more resources, more yeah. So it's gonna always just be ever changing, ever updating.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, it's going to be amazing for our descendants. They won't have to do the hard work that we've done,
Yes, right.
finding a needle in a haystack, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
this is why I was so excited to see Wayne Winkler as a speaker because he was one of the main
Yes.
speakers in the Melungeon documentary with Brent Kennedy. Because if it hadn't been for Brent, he really fought hard to prove that there's a large Mediterranean and Middle Eastern influence in being Melungeon. Because he had I forget the name, but it was a blood disorder. The Mediterranean
Yes.
fever is what they call it. That
Yes.
could only be explained by him having DNA from that area of the world, you know?
Correct. Yep.
So, I mean, you can't argue with that. I don't care what anybody says. And then we've got member stories.
Yeah, where people can share their stories,
Mm-hmm.
about their yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm. So all of these sections are going to be all filled up and, ready for everybody to use. And then you can sign up for the newsletter here.
yes, and that's
Um,
free.
yay. And then we have membership benefits, things coming to the blog. And also, I mean, if you're a member of the website and you have an article you want to submit, is that how it's done? Or is it just, people submit things randomly? I mean, is it members only submitting articles um, or is it just you guys
Yeah.
writing?
I believe that members will, if you are a member, you can. Yeah,
Okay,
you can submit
excellent.
an article and yeah, share. Yep.
Okay. Well, I'll be doing that
Yes,
because
please.
I
Yes.
I love to write. I love to write. Yes, and I will definitely be submitting things. Here is our section on our podcast. Other videos on YouTube, um,
Yes.
newspaper clippings, the feeds you can get in
Yes.
on. I mean, it's just really extensive. I am like really blown away. What a great job she did.
Yeah, and there's Jess. That's about Jess.
Yay!
She's fantastic. I just, like I said, I can't, she has just done such an amazing job.
Yes, very, very, very good job. And then we've got a connect page. which, if you have any messages, you can just put them here. If you have a specific
Yep.
question, how to support, um, different ways you can contribute. Then here's the blog, which they've, got some of the titles up, but again, things are still being added on the back end. And then we've got the shop. And so here we've got some merch, crowdfunding campaign, membership, reference service. So yeah, I just like, wow, it's about time, that this resource is out
Yeah.
there. I'm really glad she did
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, just a one-stop place, and I think that's just awesome. It's just now we know we're like there's just so many people that want to learn more about this and know the truth. And now we have a place where we're like, hey, go here. You're going to
Yes.
find the information that you need. Yeah.
And this is
Yeah.
the truth. And that's what I really want, especially, if you are a new immigrant to this country and you're trying to study our real history, this is where you want to go because yeah, it's been difficult uncovering all of this stuff. And so
Yeah.
now, yeah, now we're going to show how um we've discovered how we're related, right? Um,
Yes.
Actually, before I do this one, I want to show the ancestry.com because y'all will just
Oh, yeah.
be blown away how different my DNA is looking at ancestry and then looking at GEDmatch. Okay, so first let's take a look at this. This is my DNA according to Ancestry. You can see Scottish, English, German, Danish, Irish. This is all they have me be. I mean, do I really look like I'm just all British and Northern European? I mean, really. Somebody's fibbing, y'all. Um, so I just want to show you this first because um, I for years have been trying to uncover this myself because I was like, this this is not true. I can tell you it's not true. There's some reason why my handwriting, the way I write, people say it looks like an Arabic doctor because it's like it looks like Arabic. I
Oh,
study
wow.
Arabic. I love it. I
Yep.
had to do 2 years in school. Every day I'm on Duolingo, trying to keep my skills up. Um, it's just very clear that somebody is fibbing here. So, so if you have not used GEDmatch, I'm just going to give you a very brief tutorial on how to upload your raw DNA files because this is how you use it. This is not a testing company. So you must do your DNA test with another company. I know that um, 23andMe has gone bankrupt, um, which I find interesting because
Yeah.
that has been one of the best resources. They use the actual so an allele is like a tangent of a DNA sequence. And if you do not the RNA, if you don't use the RNA with the DNA, it's not a good test. Ancestry only uses the DNA. They do not use the RNA. They don't use the alleles. So they're not getting the detailed information. So Ancestry is great if you are building a family tree, if you are looking up records, okay? But their DNA test is just not truthful. So I did, I think, six or seven different DNA companies because I was like, what the heck is going on here? All of them say something different. There is some conspiracy here trying to hide these old lines in the American, you know, in American history. So I did Family Tree and Me is also a good one. So if you have done your 23andMe and you can still get on the website, you want to get over there and you want to download your raw DNA files. It's pretty simple on 23andMe. You just go up to the top, click on one of the tabs, and it will go down. It'll say download raw DNA. Family Tree and Me is good. Let's see, what else did I use? Those are really the two best ones. But do not use your ancestry.com DNA results and put the raw DNA in here. So once you have downloaded those files off of the website, you're going to upload them here. And before you have this profile, it will say, log in, create a profile, and then it'll have a button here. It says upload your DNA. Now, it can take, depending on how busy the server is, it can take a little while, and it can even take over an hour or hours. It just really depends. So don't freak out and try to, click refresh all the time. Just let it work and do its thing. When it's uploaded, you will see it. I think you actually get an email as well. And then once your raw DNA files are uploaded, then you will have a kit number. This number is what you're going to use in this website to see your tests, see if you're related to somebody, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm using the free version. I've done great with the free version. I know that, if you pay a little bit, you get tier 1, tier 2, things like that. I've never had to do that. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that because you should definitely support the website. But for my purposes, I was able to do everything for free. So I go up to free tools. You're going to go to add mixture heritage. Now, at first you want to use add mixture proportions with link to Oracle. And actually the first thing I'm going to show you is the Eurogenes test. There are several. So think of these as like groups of tests. Okay. So the first one we're going to look at is Eurogenes. I'm going to click continue. And that's my kit number. And we are so what a lot of people that have Melungeon heritage, they know they have, the main things of Melungeon heritage are white, black, Native American, and then the Mediterranean, the Middle Eastern, and the Asian some people have it, some people don't have it. Every family is different for Melungeon heritage, and that is very important to remember as you're doing this. You are not going to see consistent results across the board with Melungeon people. But if you're looking for how much Native American do I have, you want to use K9B. Okay? Now, if you are doing this test for the first time, you'll want to enter what your main ethnicity is considered, right? Are you Caucasian? Are you African American? Are you Native? Like, what is your main thing? If you are coming back to this test, you do not need to put that in again because that will confuse the author of this test. He's looking for feedback from new people. So don't put this in twice. Okay, just do it the first time. Then you're going to click continue. And this is where, see where it says calculating results? Don't touch it. A lot of people go, huh? Wait, what's going on? They try to refresh and then it gets all messed up, right? Okay, so knowing what my ancestry.com test said, right, which was all Northern European, is that what you're seeing here? It is not. So what is the green? Oceanian. Now, Oceanian is, the Pacific, right? Pacific Islanders, Australia, so this is kind of an overlap, I think. It is showing the Romani gypsy. Well, I hate saying that word, but unfortunately that is what a lot of people know it as. But Romani is the gypsy people from North India, also Native American, right? Because of the sailors from the Pacific crashing up against the West Coast, right? And then migrating inward, right? So that's up for debate exactly. Is it Romani? Is it Native? Then obviously mostly Northern European. But look at this massive Southwest Asian. 9% on this test. That's a lot. So just for reference, 12% is one great grandparent. Okay. So this for me is the Romani Gypsy. And then we have this portion of Native American, which is 1.5 on here. And then Northeast Asian, 7.76. So yeah, so this is where you're going to go, aha, so I do have Native. Now you see it's not very much, right? So in our folklore, we were always told that we were Cherokee and Choctaw, that the Walkers, my mother's father's family, that her grandfather, my great grandfather, was a quarter Cherokee, and my great grandmother was a quarter Choctaw because she came from Mississippi. Okay. Is that what you're seeing here? I mean, that's not very much, right? Again, they were told they were Black Dutch and they had to cover up exactly what they were. So they would say they were Native when really they had a lot of Romani Gypsy. So that's the takeaway from this test. Let's go back to the main page and we're going to now look at the MDLP project. So you're going to click on that. Kit number is back in there and we're going to do World Map 22. Now this is going to show us what kind of Native American I have, right? The other one just said Native American. This is going to show us the tribes. So again, don't touch it. But if you look over here, South American Indian, 0.65%. Yeah, it doesn't even show that one. And then the Austronesian. So this is the one. So if you combine this with, and there's some Arctic and this is all my Native American. Do you see much Cherokee there? It's mostly Choctaw. And what I'm finding out is that the Choctaw Indians, they were from the Gulf region and they were considered Black Indians, but they aren't Black from Africa. They are darker because they came from South America. So any race around the equator is going to be darker, and races off the equator are going to be lighter. Doesn't matter if they're European or native, right? Or indigenous to their land. It's just a sun thing. So like natives in Canada, they're not as dark as like the natives in South America, right? So that is pretty much, mine is Choctaw here. And then you go over, I just suggest once you get your kit uploaded, you just want to kind of play around with a lot of these tests. Okay. Let's see, let's see what this one says. And they're all going to have different percentages of, what's interesting to me about GEDmatch is that it's all using your own, it's all the same DNA, right, from you, but they're configuring it in different ways. So it's really hard to say I'm this percentage of that, or I'm this percentage of this thing, right? And then so on this test, it just shows you steppe, Caucasian, North, there's just so many tests you can do here. And so that is the oracle. And we're going to come back to this oracle when we look at the painting. And so now we're going to go to the 1-to-1 autosomal. And this is how Heather and I found out that we are related. And so here we have my kit number, and here we have Heather's kit number. And I'm just going to show you how to do this to see if you're related to somebody, okay? I'm doing graphics and positions, B37. Full. So the first one, you want it to say 1,000. Second one, you want to say 100. Third one, 5. And then that one doesn't matter. And then these are already set to 50,000 and 2 point. So we are going to compare. And so this is all my DNA. And then the ones where it has The bar with it, this is where we are related, and it's showing us exactly between what segments. So before we started filming, we went ahead and wrote all this down. Okay, so you can see Heather and I are pretty related here on several lines. Okay.
Yes.
And so this is just showing you the key for how much. But if you go back to free tools, so what you want to do is you want to write down chromosome 1, we did all this between this one and this one, right? Chromosome 6 between this one and this one. And then you're going to go back to your admixture heritage. I'm going to pull up the MDLP project, the last one we looked at that shows how much native, which is World 22. Again, I'm going to click continue. Oh, wait, I did something wrong. I'm sorry. I'm going to let this calculate, and then I'm going to go back. Okay. So what I actually wanted was the chromosome painting. This is a different thing you're going to click. So back to the beginning, MDLP project, and we are going to do chromosome painting. This tool is amazing, you guys. It makes your each chromosome strand look like, if you've ever seen music in software, it's like it looks like music, but it uses color to tell you what races you are. So now we're going to click continue. Got my kit. This one, click continue. And I just think it's the coolest thing. And this is what each chromosome looks according to this key. And so, Heather, the first one we had was chromosome 1, and it was between what segment and what segment? I think it was 10 and
It was
13.
yeah, it was
Yep.
11,000 and 13,000.
Okay. So we have this peachy color, which is Northeast European. We've got this blue color, which is Atlantic Mediterranean. And that is basically Portugal, up through France, up into Ireland. That's what they consider the Atlantic Mediterranean Neolithic. Okay. And then we have this orange. The orange is West Asian. So, West Asian, I said, like I said before, that one is up in dispute. It can go one of two ways. It could be partly Native American, and it also could be partly Romani because of where their ancestors came from. And so that's that one. And then the next one was chromosome 6, and it was what segment, Heather?
42,800 to 45,000.
Okay, and that's pretty much dead on Northern European.
Yo, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the next one?
Chromosome 11.
Okay. And segment?
20,800 to 24,000.
Okay, so this is where we've got some overlap here. And so we've got the orange, we've got the, looks like lime green, and we've got a little bit of black. So orange, Austronesian, also Arctic American Indian, that's more American Indian, and then the black, North American Indian. So how interesting that that's showing up. The North American Indian is showing up in the chromosome painting, but it's not showing up in that test. It did not
Yeah.
have a percentage for that. So for me, that's the Cherokee. That's the only tribe that I would have up here on, North America. Well, besides Choctaw, but Choctaw is technically South American. So,
Mm.
yeah. And that was, I'm sorry, was that 8 you said?
Chromosome 11.
11. Okay. And we were at 20, yeah, here. So
Yep.
that's that
Yep.
overlap. Okay, so after 11 is
17.
okay. And segment?
8,800 to 10,000.
Okay, so that's 9. This is 8. So again, but then on this one, so we've got the Cherokee, we've got the Arctic, right? So this is more
Hmm.
native. But then we've got this mint colored green, which is Indian from India. So, this is why the chromosome painting, I feel like, is so important for people to look at. Don't just look at the test and the percentages.
Right.
This is the part that will blow you away. Okay, and
Yeah.
then what was the last one?
That was the last one.
Okay,
17
that
was the
was
last one.
17. Okay, right. So you can see how all of those races are a part of Melungeon Heritage. So yeah, I mean, there's just so many cool ways that you can use this website. If you have any questions, you can message me. Just head on over to hindustanastrology.com. You can click on the contact me or contact us. I also have a little blue square, the bottom right hand corner. You can contact me. I love helping people with this kind of stuff. So you know, what I love about GEDmatch is that it is a scientific research database. It is not a DNA company looking to take money from you or to obscure your own heritage. I feel like, um, uh, there's a lot of pushback against research into proving what we're trying to do for various reasons, which I won't get into here. But I feel like we, are really putting a big foot in the door and kicking it open and saying, no,
Yes.
there's much more to being American than just being descended from English,
Yeah.
colonialist settlers. So,
Yes. Yes.
well, Heather, is there anything else you want to talk about before we end?
You've done a great job, Katya. You've covered everything. I think it's yeah. I mean, we're just really excited about this new website, Melungeon Roots, as well as our upcoming MHA Union Conference. Once again, June 20th and 21st in Johnson City. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, and just follow. You showed them our website, www.melungeon.org, and then also we're on social media. We have a Facebook page, just Melungeon Heritage Association, and then an Instagram account as well. So you can follow us there too. And then if you have any questions, the email is info@melungeon, melungeon.org.
Mm-hmm. And do we have a little hint about who's coming up for season 6 of Melungeon Voices podcast? Anybody? I know you always plan way ahead, unlike me. So,
We
uh,
do. I know.
anybody you
So
want to divulge or any hints you want to give us?
I know. I'll give you a little hint. We're gonna have someone who's been doing we had last season we had um oh my goodness, Dr. Kimberly Cheek,
Mhm.
who did about the Melungeon maroon communities in the Underground Railroad. And we're going to have somebody else on this next season who who's done research on it as well. So we're going to have like a continuation on how these mixed ethnic maroon communities, like the Melungeon people, Melungeon community were very important to the Underground Railroad,
Mhm.
Underground
Mhm.
Railroad history. So yeah, yeah. So I do. So
Oh,
I know them.
wonderful.
That person, definitely. Yeah.
One thing I want to start researching, and it's just my ethnomusicology bug. Um, I want to get more into the music because so far everybody is just saying our music comes from, it's Scottish, that there's a lot
Oh,
of Scots Irish influence and African. And as somebody who has studied extensively Arab music, um, I think we're missing something here. And I'm not sure how we can
yeah,
prove it or find
yeah,
it. But I was
yeah.
talking with one of our members who is Turkish, And she was saying, well, I have access to all of these old folk songs. And I bet some of those old Turkish folk songs are going to line up with some of our music. That's just my intuition, psychic abilities kicking in.
Yes, yes.
But I feel like there's a missing link here that, so anyway, just putting a bug out there for people in our community. If you're into the musical side, I would love to start a musical thread on the Melungeon Roots website where we can
Yes.
really start researching the music, because music does not lie, you guys. People
Right.
may lie, they may not be able even to pass down their heritage, but music does not lie. It will tell you exactly where it comes from. So,
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Yes. I'm looking forward to it.
yes. Oh, well, Heather, you're just so wonderful. I'm so happy that we were able to do this and that we can get the word out there about what we're doing and, really get our family together, because I'm just really
Yes.
finding everybody that I've ever met who is Melungeon. We just click, we get each other, there's no fakeness, no phoniness. Like we just, it's like heart to heart. So thank you so
Yes.
much for bringing this community together and pushing it forward into the future. So without further ado, I want to say thank you so much. You have been wonderful. And until next time, we'll see you later, guys. Bye.